What's happening, DTK family? I can't even get myself to even be in accordance for my usual introduction, because today's video is going to be me taking out my hair and telling you guys about how good God is. And I can't stress it enough. So after I tell you this, if you're not already seeking God, if you're not already a believer, I don't know what else to tell you from this story that I'm about, this ongoing thing that I'm about to tell you. So let me just grab my scissors real quick. I'm sitting in my room. If you watch any of my previous videos, you know that I'm turning my room into an office currently. Currently for the purpose of my business, and keep striving and trying to go in that direction wholeheartedly. I share a room with my kids where that's where I sleep, but my room is solely for business now. Also, if you watch my previous videos, you would know that I'm no longer with my kid's dad, and I feel like it's tied into, like, obviously I was telling you guys that he wasn't doing the things that he needed to do as a man. Part of those things was like taking care of the house and knowing, having the knowledge of things that should be paid attention to, but just literally putting it off. Just putting it off. So let me grab the scissors. So I've been living in my house for about 2.5 years. I'm looking for my bag to put the hair in. I'm just going to use this mini trash can. So I've been, like I was saying, I've been living in my house for over 2 years. And, struggles of keeping a home, keeping a home up. Once again, when it came to fair share in the household between 2 parents and 3 kids and almost 4, things wasn't easy. Like, things wasn't being done correctly. But I also take care of my mom as well. So that's another mouth to feed. I've been here since the beginning of 2020, before 2020. I've been here since the beginning of 2020, before 2020 COVID started. So the very beginning. Because I think COVID started happening like around March. Maybe April. I'm not sure. No, it was like May. Because I remember I was let go of my job in July. And so with that being said, here over 2.5 years, going through the ups and downs of working, not working, having my kids, trying to make it work with my kids' dad, taking care of my mom. It's a lot on my plate. Like I said, if you previously watched my last video, you understand my frustrations with my kid's dad, where I came to the point where I stopped involving people in my relationship, and I fasted, and I had to take actions on knowing what I needed to do for myself. Okay, so now it's been a couple months. I posted the video telling you guys what I went through, but it already had happened over a month ago. So we talking about a couple months now. now I'm in the realm of just trying to maintain, stay afloat, do what I need to do, face my responsibilities head on, and do so by just trying to really pay attention to everything that needs my attention. And I thought I was doing a good job at that. I thought I was. My kids don't want for nothing. When it comes to my oldest, she just had picture day. I'm making sure she has her uniform. She's not, everybody has what they need. My youngest two, they have their school supplies. Everybody is not wanting for anything. And then I'm so grateful to have certain workers at the daycare that have known me since my oldest was 10 months old. They're just pitching, like, just buy little stuff for the kids. Like, because they know, once you know a person for so long, meaning like them knowing me, they know that I'm approachable in ways like, here, can you take this? Like, you can have this for your child. Or, I came across this, I thought it'd be perfect for you. Give and take. And so I've had that kind of help, gratefully. Anything else beyond that, I can't really say, like, because it came to the point where if I did have friends that I would like try to borrow money from, they had to come to a halt at some point where they just couldn't understand, like, okay, I'm not just going to respond. Like, people get tired of, like, even if I'm giving them the money back on time, it don't matter. Like, that had came to a halt. So now I'm being really disciplined with making what I have work. And so again, let me give you an insight to what I mean as far as like borrowing money from people. Like, the last time I asked two people. I was doing my editing for my YouTube channel. I use Splice. And like, that's a third party. It's not a local store that I can go to where as though I'm like, okay, can I work with you, make a payment plan? Or it's not that. It's a website or app that you have to download, and you pay whatever the weekly, monthly, yearly fee is to keep your videos edited. So this particular week, this particular week, I was paying weekly for my Splice. So this particular week, I didn't have it, or I had it. Mind you, the weekly payment is $4.99. I had $4 and I think I had $4.80 or $4.75, something to that effect, where I reached out to two people and said, can you send 50 cents to my Cash App? Where I can, like, I just said I gotta pay an online bill. I didn't think that, because I'm asking for 50 cents. I asked one person for 50 cents. I asked the other person for $1. And I'm like, okay, all I need is just a little couple cent to make up this $4.99. And then I had my Splice to edit videos this week. I didn't get no response from either party until I said, please disregard. Because I started praying. I was like, okay, God, what's for me, I will have. Sometimes I can get ahead of myself and just think it's that easy. Like, I'll just ask this person and pay them back. I know I'm going to pay them back. But I had to stop doing that. And then when it resonated with me, when they didn't respond, I was like, okay, let me just say never mind, and I'll deal with the problem. So as soon as I said never mind, both these people text back and was like, are you sure? So it was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure. But it's like, I knew they was like, they saw it and just didn't respond. And like, it probably was weird to them. Like, why would I give her, like, what is that? Like, so I had to understand both sides, or see both sides, to not get upset and be like, why wouldn't you? I've done these things for you. I couldn't go into that mode. So after I said no, they responded, was like, are you sure? I said yes. I ended up getting a pro deal for, what was it? It was a pro deal going on with Splice, and that I didn't know about. It didn't pop up until I rejected, like, my payment for the week, I just exited out of that screen, and then came the screen that said, oh, we have pro for, it was like $1.80, 82 cents. And I said, okay, praise God. I said, wow, look at that. And nobody ended up asking me like, well, what was it even for, like, or nothing like that. So still don't know to this day. They still don't know to this day. They just know that was weird for me to ask for $1.50. You never know what somebody going through. But sometimes when you don't have it to give, you should say, I don't have it. That's the best advice I can give to people that like are the person that's constantly putting themselves out there as a helper. Like, I help this person, I do this. And then when they can't help, they like don't want to respond, or they just say you don't have it. Just say no. Then the nice, like, just say, I don't got it this time. And that I was taken aback by it. But okay, life goes on. I say that to say is I've gotten like so many rejections job wise. I got so many rejections. Whereas though, like, God knows your situation. He knows you at best. So I'm sitting here pregnant. I'm sitting here trying to make ends meet, stay afloat, trying to work. I'm getting rejected. And it's like I'm supposed to be set down for a reason. And I'm thinking back to the things that I was asking God for. And it was like, okay, this is just him testing you to see if you're ready for those things. I don't know if you ever heard of the term when God empties you. He's emptying you. And you may not understand it or be confused by it, but I'm literally being emptied and rejected here and there, and I'm confused because I'm doing everything right and I'm striving and I'm trying to do this and that at the same time and multitask and make sure. But all in all, God is my controller, so he knows me best. He knows what health risks I'm up for if I do this thing. He knows what risks I'm up for if I do that thing. And although it will bring stability, I probably am not supposed to be doing it right now. So, that comes with frustration and questioning to God, like, okay, I feel like I'm doing everything right. So then in the midst of me being home full time and taking care of my mom, taking care of my kids, trying to take care of myself, I'm trying to focus on the house now and see things that's like going wrong with the house, because a few months ago, when my gas got cut off because the bill wasn't being paid, and I made arrangements where, there was an extension and, we got on a payment plan. This was before my kid's dad was out of the house. And when they came to cut it back on, they said, we can't fully cut the heat back on. We can't touch the furnace, like, because it's a risk of carbon monoxide exposure coming into the house. So when you hear carbon monoxide exposure, you think of all the horror stories that you could possibly think of. And then you think of real life stuff that you read on the news that's happened to people. A house full of everybody lost their life just like that overnight. Never woke up. So I'm like, all right, I will check with the heaters. Like, I'm good with the heaters until we get this thing figured out. They're like, yeah, you have to get what I know now to be HVAC, but I thought, or I was told, plumber. You had to get a plumber, because my kid's dad was the one that sat with the console for this thing when they was coming to anticipate cutting the gas back on. So I'm getting everything from him, information from him, but I'm not really understanding like what is causing this exposure. So when it came to, this is what only can work, the stove can work. At the time, they felt like they shouldn't have cut the pilot on for hot water. So we're dealing with that, where I'm heating up water. I'm, got the space heaters but this was in the summertime when it first happened. So I didn't need the heaters at the time, but I got heaters. I have heaters from a couple years ago when I was in my apartment. I have heaters. So I'm just thinking, God, I already have heaters. So now I just need to worry about the hot water. Heating water up to wash clothes if it's not laundry day at the laundry mat. Stuff like that. Incidentals, washing up, and stuff like that. So again, this is before my kid's dead, before I had him out of the house. So everybody's aware of what's going on, but he's the one that's walking around with the knowledge where he can say, okay, this is what needs to be done. Instead of taking any type of action, he still wanted to pay for the things he wanted to pay for. That had nothing to do with nobody. They had everything to do with him. And, you know, like I said in my last video, I got tired of the pattern and I was like, I had to take action. But the thing is, now that I'm in a place where I'm the one that's solely responsible for the lives in this house, including mine, I'm like, after I get frustrated with God of being in the valley and constantly being in the valley, but I would get frustrated when he uses me to help other people, and I'm successfully helping other people, and I'm praying over people, and things are coming to pass for other people that I'm praying for. And I was like, well, how I'm being delayed in my struggle, but you're using me to help other people? Couldn't understand it, literally. But it resonated with me like, well, it ain't, what can you do? Isn't this what you wanted, Vanessa, to help other people, to bless other people? Well, how are you going to get mad at that? Your prophet's fulfilled. So it resonated with me. I'm not mad at the people I'm helping. I'm just frustrated with God because you got me sitting here. I'm being sat down. And by understand this, we can get frustrated with God because we enter confusions. And these are confusions that we not really running crazy. Like, I'm trying to be still, but I'm confused. So I have my little argument with God. But by the end of the day, I'm repenting. I'm like, listen, faith without works is dead. I'm still here, Lord, to have me is to heal me. I don't understand right now. But by that night, I'm apologizing to God. Like, my bad. I know, like, my bad. So boom. So now I am here as the sole provider to figure everything out, you know, with nobody to tell me really like the ins and out of a house and what you should do when certain stuff go wrong and this, then the third. So one day I just was like, recently, like the other day, I just was like, man, I need to like press play on something. Like, I know I'm trying to fix this part of the house. I know I'm trying to I fixed the strainer to my sink. That was cool. I fixed, you know, little things that need to be fixed that was like didn't cost me more than $20. So now I'm just writing everything down of what I want to happen, and I'm trying to plan it accordingly so that my mind is not a disorganized file cabinet and I'm having anxiety on what to tackle first. So something in me was just like, all right, winter about to come again. I know they said I can't cut the furnace on, but before I thought about that, I said, dang, I have to go get the radiator key to bleed the radiators. So that's when it dawned on me like, oh snap, you can't turn the heat on because this, then the third. So then something was like, all right, just look up a plumber. I look up a plumber in my area. The first person I called was the person to come out. Very pleasant people, very pleasant guy, very good faith-based people to work with. So I'm trying to explain to the guy, like, what's his last name? Because I don't want to disrespect this man. He was so kind to me. Okay, the name, I have his first name, but the last name is not resonating with me. Like, so I don't really want to, I don't know if I should put his first name out there, but this guy, if you see this, you know I'm talking about you. So the plumber comes and he's like, I'll take a look at it. But before he got there, right, I'm explaining to him, I'm like, I don't really know what the problem is. I just know it's a risk of carbon monoxide coming in the house, and they're not going to cut my heat on until I had somebody look at it. Mind you, my kid's dad is already gone. He was here, didn't take no action to it. He just, you know, if I patched it up, he's fine with that space heater, whatever. Never was like, what he did say was it's going to cost a lot of money. Okay, that don't make sense. We're not putting our heads together to see how to make this work. And again, I got the space heaters. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm part of the blame because I'm not taking action to see what's like really is this thing, but I don't know what this thing is. I'm so scared of whoever, if I do get it cut on, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna try to ride this out as long as I can with the heaters. So he's like, he finally comes, right? He's in my basement and he's spraying my pipes down with soap and water. And he's like, I don't see the problem, because I'm telling him, I'm like, he said we can't turn the pilot on and the heat on. So he's spraying, he working on the pilot first. He's spraying down the pilot pipes and trying to figure out why it's not. He said, I have no idea what this man was talking about. He said, why would he say that? And I said, well, okay, I don't know. Like, he's like, but you could cut your pilot on. There's nothing wrong with the pilot. So he goes to cut the pilot on. Everything's fine. He's like, all right, that's on. So now what else? I said, this is what they saying I'm at risk for. So my son waking up from his nap, I believe. He just coughing. So he's like, by the grace of God, this man take his flashlight, look everywhere in the basement, on the wall, furnace, water heater, everything. He's like, I really can't find what the problem is. So then he sees, it's all the duct pipe. He sees the pipe and he says, oh, I see what he mean. He was like, you see that right there? I'm like, yes, the way the pipe from the furnace to the wall, it was supposed to connect and have no openings so that carbon monoxide is going out. The fumes from the furnace is going out of the house. So it's a duct pipe that holds that in to get out of the house through the wall. He said it's a crack in there. But he thought that the way the pipe, I'm trying to look for something that can visually show you the way the pipe was, the duct pipe. It was like a little crack, like where it was like, oh, you just gotta put it back together. Like you just gotta seal it into each other and put it back together. So that's what he thinking. So he seals it and push it in like regular and just put it back together. So then he looked, he like, that's not it. It's a hole in the pipe. He said it's a hole big enough to fit a cantaloupe in the pipe. I'm going to show y'all what this hole look like. I'm going to show y'all the pipe, show y'all what the hole look like. So when you see this hole, you would know how God was working, because we could have died. I've been in this house over 2 years. We had 2 winters where we had the heat on, but this hole is so big that it was like, it had to be like that before you even moved in here. And whatever damage was done, because it's a form of metal. It's like a type of metal where it's like, how is that? And so like, I just didn't know what to like. It didn't even hit me at that point. I'm just like, okay, so what do I need to do? Like, now I know what the actual problem is. I know the risk. I said, obviously, I got to get some detectors of carbon monoxide. Obviously, I still can't turn the heat on until I get this repaired. So at that point, you know, I text my landlord. I send them the picture. Like, you know, I send them the information of what I discovered. And they say, you know, they're going to get on it and stuff like that. But it still didn't resonate with me that my whole family could have died at some point. At some point. So the way God saved us, and I'm already sitting here frustrated, just being a provider of my 3 kids, my mom, I'm pregnant, I'm stressed out, I got a lot on my plate, I don't have no help. And then I'm constantly being rejected to the point where all I have is my business to focus on. And even with that, it's like, I'm trying to just weave through it and figure it out. If you are an entrepreneur and you watching this, you know the struggles that come with starting a business. You know the doors that are closed, that some of them got cracks in it, some of them completely closed, and some open when they want to. You get way more no's than you get a yes in life. But it's just different as an entrepreneur. A little bit different. So because you're trying to go against the odds, you're trying to make a difference, you're trying to birth this dream, you're trying to do so much that the average 9-to-5 person is a different type of condition to be placed in. You're working harder, you're working at your own pace, but if you don't have a type of consistency with that work, it's going to take a while for you to see a change. So a lot comes with being an entrepreneur and starting your business from the ground. So I've already got my struggles, my troubles, my faith, my days. I'm up, I'm down, I'm crying some days, I'm smiling some days. I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. And in the midst of that, as long as my kids and my mom is halfway decent, they don't want for nothing, whole way decent, all the way decent, I'm good. I can walk outside with my hair all over my head. Thank you, God, you blessed my hands to be able to do my own hair. But when days I don't feel like doing myself cosmetically, and days I don't feel like just washing up, days I don't feel like I look like how I feel, but I can walk outside, look like how I feel, and people still frown upon me. They just still frown upon me. It's just something about whatever. Like I was never a person that fit in nowhere, because people just don't take to be like, they don't. And that's fine. That's fine. I had to learn it, to let it go. That's fine. God removes you. He keeps you from people and removes you from people for a reason. That's fine. But I can't say that it don't hurt as another human in this world trying to make it, as another female in this world just trying to do the best I can do. And people just always looking at me. Some people I don't know. Some people I do know. Some people is family members. Most of them. Some people, like I said, don't know them, do know them, family. They just never really can know me for me and love me for me. Let it go, cool. I'm fine with the isolation that God has put me in at this point. But what I'm trying to tell you is that for somebody that already feels how I feel, trying the way I'm trying, and knowing that God could have took my life so many times just by this carbon monoxide exposure in my house. Do you know what that did to me? It made me feel like I have a purpose. It made me feel like everybody, my kids, my mom, he didn't want us to be that story. He didn't want that story for us. I already cried before I make this video. Not doing it again. Not crying again. If y'all only knew the things that I've been through. I'm not even 30 yet. I'm not even 30. I'll be 30 next month. But if you knew the things that I've been through, you would say, I should have been lost my mind. So, now that I know the problem, all I can do is work my best once again at resolving it. Because when things like that happen, and you can't just pick up and leave and go find shelter and, or go to a shelter. You always do that, but stuff comes with that. So now I have knowledge of the problem. I'm gonna have it fixed. My landlord is in it. Their hands is in it. They're gonna have it fixed. Yes. Come here. Alright, so my son did wake up and I had to sit with him like while he was going back to sleep for his nap. In the midst of that, I ended up taking all my hair out. But yes, if you understand what I'm saying, when you're just trying to do right, you're trying to walk right, and you're removing the right people. And like I said, for my kid's dad to have all the knowledge of what was going on, because let me tell you this, when a plumber came and I still couldn't put it in words, I called my kid's dad and he told him to a T. He's like, yeah, I know what he's talking about. I know that's what happened. Like, that's what needs to happen. This is where his problem is. And he explained it. Because like I said, he was the one involved in the console, and then certain jobs that he used to work until in fixing houses. So he knew. So for him to not be emergent with that in the first place, and by me removing him ultimately, I knew that I was making the right decision for my family, and having somebody in the house that's just selfish, that's for themselves, that if a problem come up, they worried about how much money it costs to get it fixed, rather spend money on themselves and stuff they need and their habits or what so have you. And it's so much a woman could take of that, where you trying to make a man happy regarding such things, but they not pouring back into you. Like, I'm pouring into you, not pouring back into me. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with my hair, but I just wanted to get the braids off of me, because it was like, you ever have so much stress, you don't even want the hair on your head, like you don't want nothing touching your neck, you don't want nothing. I was like, I'm tired of flipping these braids. I was already taking them out one by one, thinking that I was gonna redo the front and what so have you, but I was just like, no, let me just take this out. Like, maybe I should just go natural for a while. Or I don't know what I'm gonna do, or get like a updo where it's like I don't have nothing on my neck bothering me, annoying me at the slightest move. So yeah, I say this all to say that all things really do work together. All things really work together for your good. And I'm gonna recommend this song. It's the song I turned to when all of this was going on. It's a song that I knew about, but I would always know when to listen to it. It's called Dear God by Smokey Norfolk. You listen to this song when you are just going through things, but you understand that you woke up. You woke up to have another chance at life. And when somebody asks you how you're doing, yes, you are blessed. Just say I'm blessed. Just say I'm blessed. And keep it moving. Smokey Norfolk, Dear God, because it will touch you. It will bring you down to your knees and be like, oh, wow. At the end of the day, I probably don't have this, I probably don't have that, but I need to thank God for my life. And I was thanking God as everything was just playing back in my head. And I was just like, oh my God, this could happen, this could happen. You know, I want to complain so bad, it's easy. And I'm choosing my faith, and I'm choosing prayer in the morning, and I'm oiling myself down. I'm oiling my kids down with the virgin olive oil. And, I'm trying to stay in the room because I'm just not leaning to my own understanding more. God has full control of me. Just like when I said in my last video, when it comes to my pregnancy, I terminated before. And what's so crazy is for me to fall pregnant again, and my due date is the same due date, around the same due date as my last pregnancy that I terminated. You have no control over your life. If God wants something to happen or somebody to be here, he's going to make it. It's nothing you could do. But the problem is, people do try to control their life, and people do, real life get abortions, and people real life don't pay for stuff that they supposed to pay for, because they rather pay for this, and they rather look like this and not look like what they're going through, and not go through what they're going through. They rather make an image like, I'd rather look like this. I don't want to explain this to nobody. I would rather work so hard at denying my life what it's like right now. And it only puts you in more deeper, you're detaching yourself from God because you're saying no to your calling. You might hear the Holy Spirit, but you're not paying attention to the signs. You might have the wrong people around you where you don't even want to come to your knees with God, because you in a group where you like, man, I can't be the one to be like, have some sense in this group and be like, no, we can't do this. I can't do this. I can't wear this. I can't hang with y'all today. You don't even want to be that one to stand out in a crowd like that. Like, some people are like that. So if you're watching this and you can relate in any way, it don't even have to be about my specific issue. It can be something else that makes you think like, wow, maybe I should lean on God more, because this thing could have been so bad. It could have really been a moment in my life where I just caved in, could have took my life behind this thing. I could have fought the next person because they looked at me the wrong way. I could have just jumped off the deep end. And you got to realize, when you're not jumping off them deep ends, it's because God is keeping you. He might not show you why till a month later, a week later, a year later, but all things really do work together. And for your good, for your good. You might not see it now. You might still be living with your parents. You won't have that much responsibility. You might not be living with your parents and you're doing great. You might have had no kids. But when he calls you out of the thing that you are in that's comforting you, when he calls you into your perfect will and says it's time, he's going to take away everything. If it's not meant, it's everything that you have that you are stable with. It may be your distraction and you not even know it. So when things start going wrong and stuff just become out of your control, you can't even handle it. That ain't nobody but God telling you, putting you through a test to see if you are ready for the next big thing to happen in your life. And if you don't believe me, don't believe me. Just don't believe me. Heck, skip the video. Just don't even watch what I'm doing. But if you can relate, stay with me on my journey, because these are the important parts where it's like, I'm not waiting until I get to this breakthrough or this next dimension to be like, oh man, y'all don't know. Like I'm like sharing things with you guys along the way. I get back to my embroidery videos and my business videos. I'll get back to that. But sometimes you got to take a pause, because when God moves in your life, one thing he wants you to do is tell the people. You move by God so much. The one thing that is his objective on everybody, I believe, is to spread the word of God. Tell the people, you almost died. You could have been hit by a car this day. You could have did that and I saved you. Tell the people about me so that they too might believe. That is the one objective that should be on everybody's like mindset when it comes to surviving things, like surviving. I'm talking about, I got through the day. I'm just glad I got through today. I survived. Thank you, Jesus. Before you get out of bed, just good morning, God. Thank you, God, for another day. Because you know what? When you having a bad day and like the full day, afternoon ain't even hit, and some stuff that went down, you figure today ain't the day. It's a bad day. But just know that joy will come in the morning. It might be a bad day. You got to see that day through. You got to do what you need to do to get to that resting place, your bed, your couch, whatever you sleep on, the floor, anything. But before you lay your head down, you have survived. Acknowledge that you survived the day. And before you lay down, whether you pray, whether you choose not to pray, you are at rest with something. You taking a deep breath about something. Like, man, dang, I finally get to lay down. My kids is in bed, something. And if you don't acknowledge God in the moments, that's when you see people like 40 years old, 50 years old, standing on the corner, didn't really, they surviving. They didn't make nothing of themselves, but they they surviving. They getting by. You see people at gas stations talking about, can I pump your gas? I just need $1. So, you see people that don't have to do what they're doing, but they are stubborn people that now they rather go get how they live the wrong way instead of submitting to God and letting him direct their steps and however they see fit, but we got to go through something to see that other side of what he has for us. If we want to live out our perfect will, we have to submit to it in some way. And when you go through those struggles and them tests and the emptiness that he's going to bring out of you, you know that you equipped at the end of the day. I can do anything. Sometimes you could get so creative when you broke and you just next to nothing. You got a couple dollars in your pocket. I'm talking about less than 10, less than 5. And you just go to the dollar store and make it work with pennies sometimes. You get so creative with what you need and what you can create out of what you have. And I can't say it no other way. It ain't no more examples. It's a lot of examples, but we'll be here all day. Just trust in God. My whole family could have died. If you don't trust in God, and let's talk about this. People that see angel numbers, you posting it, you're like, okay, I see this angel number, but what are you doing to acknowledge to God about this angel number? Does it make you feel at peace? Does it make you want to seek the number? And, how do you know about angel numbers? Is it a trend, or are you really in tune with God where you're paying attention to the steps and you're paying attention to the angels that's guiding you in the moments and saying, this adjustment you about, whatever you're going through, you're seeing this number because it's all right. You will be all right. You're going to come out okay. This number is to remind you that your angels are with you. Whichever number it is, they got different meanings: freedom, money, relationship, careers, and different ones pertain to different things now. But they are validation that when walking into this, as you going through the struggle and walking into whatever you're being equipped for, it's going to be okay. How are you responding to the angels' numbers that you see? Are you doing anything different? But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. It's almost time to go pick my other two kids up from school. My son was home sick today, and he's been home a couple days, and that's another thing. God knows. He knows what I'm going through. He knows to reject me from certain things because I have to be home to provide. And if I do go out and spend too much time here or work here or do this here, when they call from the daycare or they call from my mom program or something go wrong with anybody, I gotta stop everything and come get them. No babysitter, no nothing. So God knows what you're going through, and he will place you where you need to be at all times. So I laid that confusion. I want to say that I laid that confusion to rest because he knows. He knows. He knows what you're going through. But if you just sit and wait on the Lord, and we ain't talking about sit and do nothing because faith without works is dead. If you do the thing that you are praying for in accordance to meet him halfway or however you see fit, you have to do something. You will see where your hard work leads you to. And that's what I'm in. That's what I'm in. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm in it. I'm working so hard that I don't face certain struggles that delay me. And I got to sit and figure it out and before I can go back to what I was doing and get that momentum back. You understand? So I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be back later to, again, tell you some more things of why you should be blessed and you should be thankful and grateful for your life. And with that being said, guys, I thank you so much for watching. My name is Vanessa, DTK all the way.